Morning all. Morning all and welcome to this tutorial. If you are with us live, welcome. If you're watching this a little bit later, it's good to have you. Let's just see who is joining us live today. Okay, Salt River, it's good to see you. So today, as I mentioned in the email yesterday in the announcement, today we're going to be doing a bit of exam preparation. For those of you who have not yet received the timetable, the Introduction to Industrial Psychology, our exam was meant, or according to our outline, module outline, it was for the 26th of May, but it has been moved to the 4th of June. So it gives you about another 3 weeks to prepare for it. So the exam will only be on the 4th of June. Okay, so today we're just going to go through what to expect in the exam, the types of questions that are going to be asked, the chapters that you need to focus on. If there are any questions, please Salt River, just keep them coming, whether you unmute yourself or if you just write your comments and then I can see them and reply to them. Okay, so okay, so let's begin. I'm just going to put on the presentation, the slideshow, so that you can have a bit of a visual too. Okay, so like I mentioned, the exam will take place on Wednesday, the 4th of June. Now, it will be very similarly run as the multiple choice test that you did, you will get about a 24-hour period in which to write this exam. Okay. However, you only have 2 hours. So what will happen, the exam will be open, and I don't know the exact times, but that will be made available to you closer to the time. It may open at 1 o'clock, 1 a.m. till 12 midnight, but as soon as you open up on the exam, you will only have 2 hours in which to complete it, and then after 2 hours, as it did with the test, it will automatically submit your exam to me. Okay, so it's a 2-hour paper. There's going to be multiple choice questions again, short answers questions, as well as an essay question. So the multiple choice will be very similar to the test that you wrote, where you will have maybe 3 or 4 choices to choose from, and you have to click on the choice you think is the most accurate. Short answers, these will be ones where perhaps you have to write a definition, give an example, questions like that, where you'll be expected to write maybe 2 or 3 sentences. And then as well an essay question, which will be a bit longer, where you'll be writing maybe perhaps 3 or 4 paragraphs on a particular topic. Okay, so it will be a variety of these 3. And then the chapters the exam are going to focus on are the ones that we've done since the test. So it's looking at attitudes and values, which is chapter 9, aggression and conflict, which is chapter 10, groups, chapter 11, and then psychological well-being. Okay. Are there any questions so far? None. Okay, then what I'm going to do is just go through each chapter very briefly, and we can look at the areas that you need to focus on, just to give you a little bit more help. Okay. So if we look at the first chapter, attitudes and values, this is on chapter 9. Basically, for the exam, this is where short questions and multiple choice questions are going to come from. Okay. You need to look at everything that was covered in this chapter. So everything that I put up onto Funda may appear in the exam. So it's going to be looking at providing definitions. You need to know the definitions for attitudes as well as values. To have an understanding of the difference between attitudes and values. Where do attitudes and values derive from? So how do they develop? as well as Milton Rakesh's approach to understanding individual values. So if you remember the video, it looked at terminal and instrumental values. And on page 192 of your textbook, it gives examples of the terminal and instrumental values. So you need to know Rakesh's approach, and as well as those terminal and instrumental values. You do not need to study Spranger's value orientations or Schwarz's theory or the natural culture. In fact, we did not even cover natural culture, so it's not going to appear in the exam. We did look at Spranger and Schwarz, but you do not need to study this for the exam. Okay. On page, I think it's 196 of your textbook, it looks at work-related attitudes. So that's looking at job satisfaction and organizational commitment, and that's, you do need to know that may appear in the exam, as well as culture and values. So please let me know if I am talking too fast. Like I said, you do not need to study the natural culture. I think that starts on at the end of page 199 to page 203. You can leave that out. You do, however, need to look at attitudes and value change. This includes cognitive dissonance. You need to understand this concept, be able to give examples about it, as well as understanding the methods to handle dissonance. If you look on page 205, there's a little box on that page, and it has a variety of methods. You need to know these. Okay, it's also very important that you look at the individual as an active agent and as a recipient of attitude and value change. So you may be asked to explain how you could effectively change the attitudes and values of employees. So you just need to have an understanding of how you may go about doing that. Okay, so that's chapter. Oh, sorry, I've been told I'm going a bit too fast. Okay. So that is chapter 9, attitudes and values. That's everything that you need to study for the exam. It's everything that has been put up on Funde, apart from, like I said, the things you do not need to study: Spranger, Schwarz, and the natural culture. Okay, everything else you need to have a look at. Are there any questions regarding this chapter? Okay. Next chapter is chapter 10, aggression and conflict. So if you've looked at the video and the lesson on Funde, you'll notice that we only started from page 221. So if we look in our textbooks, just opening that, you'll see on page 221 there's a heading 10.5, aggression, and that's where we start from. Okay, in this chapter you can expect short questions, multiple choice questions, as well as a possible essay. Okay, so the essay question may come from this chapter. So in this chapter, you need to be able to give definitions of aggression, conflict, workplace violence, workplace bullying, everything that was covered, as well as the differences between workplace aggression, violence, and bullying. You'll need to be able to understand or be able to differentiate between the various types of aggression as well. So it's basically everything that was covered. You do not need to study the causes of workplace aggression, and that's only because we did not cover that in our lesson. Okay, so it won't appear in the exam. You also need to look at how to manage conflict, aggression, and violent behavior in the workplace, and be able to give practical tips on how you would handle and deal with this. Okay, and this is where a possible essay question may come in. So how would you manage it in a workplace, the violence or conflict or aggression, and how, to give tips to organizations as how they can manage or handle and deal with this issue. Are there any questions regarding this chapter, aggression and conflict? Okay, let's move on then. Groups. This is based on chapter 11. Again, there may be short questions, short answer questions, multiple choice questions, and a possible essay from this chapter. So what you can focus your studies on is defining groups, be able to identify the various types of groups. It's important that you know the 5-stage model of group development. You know, what is expected in each of those stages, the emotions and behavior that are characteristic of each stage. It's very clearly described or explained in the textbook in chapter 11, as well as on Funde. A few of the students have given very good examples that they commented on Funde, so please read through those as well. This may be a possible essay question. Okay. You also need to look at the group structure as well as group decision making. So when you're looking at group structure, I think that starts on page 244. You also look at how these concepts can impact on the group effectiveness. And then group decision making, they list a variety of methods that groups can use when making decisions. You need to be able to explain some of these techniques. Are there any questions regarding this chapter, groups? You do not need to study the group processes. Okay, so you can skip through that. And then finally is the psychological well-being. Now this is the lesson that was put up last week. I hope you've all had a chance to go through it. It was a very short lesson, and it was mostly taken from the reading that I did upload onto Funde. With regard to this, with psychological well-being, it's the short answers and multiple choice questions are going to focus on this chapter. So there won't be any essay questions. It will be more short answers or multiple choice. Okay, and it's going to come from the article that is uploaded called The Effect of Psychological Well-Being on Organizational Commitment of Employees. So basically, all you really need to know for this, or what you should focus your studies on, is defining psychological well-being. So have a knowledge of what that is. Why is it important to study the well-being of employees? Why do we need to know that? As well as the 6 dimensions of psychological well-being, and that is highlighted in the article. You will find it there. Okay, and then this is, yeah, understanding and defining psychological well-being, looking at those 6 dimensions. Those dimensions are self-acceptance, environmental mastery, personal growth, your purpose in life, autonomy, and positive relationships with others. Okay, so just have an understanding of each of those. And then in your textbook on page 428, there's a heading called Interventions for Developing and Enhancing Employee and Organizational Well-Being. And that passage just gives you some methods on how you can, or how organizations can enhance employee well-being. On Funda as well, some of the students have started commenting on practical methods that they think employee or organizations can use. So just look through that as well, have some basic understanding of intervention methods. Okay, so it's not too much to focus on this chapter. And in the textbook, it's only really from page 428 that you need to look at. There's just a verse and a quote around success for you. I can do all this through Him who gives me strength. The recipe for success: study while others are sleeping, work while others are loafing, prepare while others are playing, and dream while others are wishing. Yeah. So that is a little bit of exam preparation. And please remember that it will be on the 4th of June. Like I said at the beginning, I believe that you haven't yet received your timetables, but they should be coming out any day now. Are there any questions regarding the exam? Any questions, or either around the actual exam or around the chapters that I've just spoken about? Okay, Salt River is saying no, they have no questions, and they just want to know roughly how many questions there will be. Okay, listen, I can't tell you exactly just yet how many questions there will be. There will be one essay question, and you're more than likely, I may give you a choice between 2, and you can choose one to write on. It will start off with a few multiple choice questions, the short answer questions, and then an essay question. But I will give you a little more information regarding the breakdown in the next week, if that's all right. Okay. Are there any other questions? If you can look at the module outline to see how much the exam is worth for the whole course. Okay. No more questions. All right. You all know my email address, sharonsmallbones@gmail. Sorry, that's my old one. sharonsmallbones@gmail.com. Otherwise, you can email me on Funda as well if there are any questions. If there's anything you're uncertain of, or there's a concept you don't fully understand, please just email me. Rather swamp me with emails than struggle on your own. Naisna is asking how long will it take, the exam. Okay, you did join us a bit later. We did go through that. The exam is 2 hours long. It's going to be on the 4th of June for 2 hours. So you're going to have 24 hours in which to write the exam. But as soon as you open up, you'll have 2 hours, and then it will automatically submit your exam to me. So what I do suggest is that on that day you find a time where you will not be disturbed, where you can have a bit of privacy. You know that for at least 2 hours you're not going to have any interruptions. Okay. Unfortunately, there's nothing we can do then if you run out of time. It will just automatically submit it. As well, you know, even with your test, I can't prevent you from cheating, from having your textbook with you or notes prepared. But I'm sure, like you saw in that test, you have to have an understanding. You have to have done some reading through and studying in order to actually pass that test. And it's going to be the same with the exam. There are going to be there's enough time for you to complete it, but if you don't know your work, you are going to run out of time. So please do study and start reading through your notes now already, making your notes, so that you know this exam counts for quite a big percentage of your overall mark. If you didn't do very well in your test and in your assignment, then you really do need to take your time and study for this exam. And you can contact me at any stage, all right? Email me if there are any questions. Are there any more questions? Okay. I'm going to wish you all luck. I can't believe that we're already at the end of this program. This module is almost over, and this is really the last step, okay? And then we are done. And so, yeah, good luck to you all, and I look forward to hopefully working with some of you in the future. Okay, bye.